In this video, we're going to be looking at rigging a quadruped. I have this model that a student has made for me, and he's asked me to get it rigged. So first thing I need to do is make sure it's completely down at the lowest level. Once we've done that, we'll make sure that in the object browser the wolf is selected. And what we're going to do is export selection. Now I've already exported this in the previous video, but I've also created a Maya projects and a wolf Maya projects. I'm going to put in the assets, and I like putting all my OBJs and FBX in the assets of a project. So let's just save that there. We'll come into Maya now, and let's just make sure that we've got this project set. So we'll go set project and press wolf, and then press set. Now what I can do is I can come into import, and I'm going to go into the assets directory, and here's my wolf OBJ. Let's import it, and here he is. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to smoothen out his normals because, his edges, because they look a bit ugly. So I'll come back to modeling, and I'm going to go into mesh display and soften edges, just so as it looks a little bit smoother, a bit nicer. Right, now what I'd like to do is not go into the tool settings, come into the layers. This is the end one, and I want to put this guy on his own layer. So let's just create a layer, and we'll call it, double click on that, and we'll call it Geo for geometry, and we'll press save. It means that we can hide and save it and also lock it, and that's what I want to do. I might just reference it at the moment just so as we know where it is. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a human IK so we know the names of all the bones that we're going to create. So let's just go into our rigging system, we'll go into skeleton, human IK. I'll come up with a browser over here and it'll have none, so we'll create a skeleton. Now this skeleton here is designed specifically for a biped. We've got a quadruped, so that's our problem, and here's our character, and these are the names that we're needing to create. If we just click on the hip and we'll go F to frame up on it, you'll notice that the hip is this root joint, left up leg, right up leg. So I'm not going to worry about the character one underscore, but it's the left up leg name convention that we're going to be using. So for the moment, what we'll do is we'll just hide that now that we've got it, because I wanted it in our seam so we can get access to it. So I'm going to select on any bone and press up to get to the character reference. Once I've done that, I'll come over to my layers and I'll create a layer, and I'll just call this human IK, just so as I've got access to it, and I'll save it. And I'm going to hide it because I don't want to see it. Cool. The next thing what we'll like to do is just lay down the bones. So we'll just go to the fore view, come over to the side view, press the space bar so we can see it, and we'll go Alt middle mouse. And the next thing I would like to talk about is we need to know how a dog's skeleton is going to look. So I'll just pause, and so here we have, and I've got this one specifically so as it's a side view, and we can see what's going on. So this is all the hips. So the hip joint will be here on the dog, and the spine will go up throughout here. This is the root joint, or where the skeleton. Our hips are going to be here, or my leg. This is, have you noticed my knee is here? My ankle is right here, and he's standing on his toes basically. So this is the bend of the ankle. We'll have a look at the other arm. So this is my shoulder blades. If you notice that the collarbone goes into here to the start, so we'll make sure that the collar's there, the shoulder's here, then here's the elbow, here's the wrist right here, and this is the toes, or where your fingers come out. So we'll keep that in mind. I'm just going to move that to my other screen. So as we build the skeleton, it has to reflect that. So when we come to animating later, it sort of makes sense. So we're going to come over here on the, the rigging tab, and I'm going to click on this tool here, which is the joint tool. So with the joint tool clicked, we'll start with the hip joint. Now, as you imagine, what you saw me is it's around about here, and being a dog, we need a few. So I'm just going to go 3. Actually, this one's 2, and I'm going to come to here because my shoulders are going to start coming from here, And then my neck's starting to come from here, and this is my head joint. Now, I'm just going to leave it there. Normally what you do is you have a jaw so as we can animate, but in this case I'm just going to go from there and press enter to finish the chain. Now we'll continue with our joint, and I'm going to go for our tail this time. I'm going to go from the beginning of the tail, and I'm just going to go for a sort of a flow of the tail so as we can have a spline IK organized once we get going. The next one, and I'll actually just remind you what we're going to do. So we're going to go and look for these hips here. So the hips are going to be, well, let's just move this over and see whether we can make sure you can see it. So the hips are going to be around about here on the dog, and the knees are around about here. So we'll click on the joints. So here's my joint, here's my knees, here's my ankle, and here's my toe, the balls of your feet, and I'm going to do a toe end just so as I can see how it's going. Let's just check our reference. I'll just shrink this down a little bit. So the dog's ankle is around about here, and then here is the ball of the foot, and this is the toes. And the knees are around about here, and the hips are around about here. I'm quite happy with that. So now let's do the shoulder area. So the shoulder area, as I said, it sort of starts somewhere here. Let's get that image again. Where's that image? Starts underneath, inside, and then it comes up to a forward motion. So I'm going to come up to, maybe I'll come, I want to move this. So let's just put this here for the moment. I need to see my image. I'm going to put it on the other screen for a minute. Then from here we're going looking for where here is the elbow, and it's around about, the wrist is around about here, and this is the middle of the hand, and this is the toes end. Cool. So I'm going to select this guy, undo, Control Z, and press enter to make sure you finish the keychain. Now, this guy is the one that I want to move, and I want to move it from a different view. So let's just, first of all, move the whole thing, and press W, and I'll just move the whole thing over here. Actually, I want him, this particular bone, to be around about here, and I'm going to grab the next one. I'm going to move that across. Now I'm going to keep this perfectly straight up and down in front of the toes. Now I need to see the dog as a whole at this point, because I've got to make sure that I'm coming down the front legs. Notice the back legs are a little bit inside, and I'm going to go down that leg. Try to make sure that you're coming down through the object, and keep it perfectly in line. It's pretty important. So I want to get the back leg now, so I'm going to select this and go use my up arrow keys, and I'm just going to move that to make sure it's in line with this. Now before I move on to the next phase, which is mirroring the joints, what I would like to do is I'd like to name the joints from the left and right side. Now let's just have a look at this. I've got a bit of a problem with this. This one is a little bit too far forward. I've got a bit of a problem with that. So what we're going to do, and actually I sort of feel that this is too far back. So collarbone, move this a little bit down, move it back here, grab this one up, and we'll move it forward, maybe down a little bit, maybe forward. This toe ends probably needs to go in a little bit. Just make sure that you don't move it left and right here. Make sure it's in line. And I think I'm going to go okay with that. Now before I start parenting, and what I mean by that is this is going to be parented to here, and this is going to be parented to here. I'd like to rename it all. Alright, now the way we're going to rename this is just to follow the Human IK naming convention. So let's just see whether we can double click. So double click, grab this name, click on this one, which is joint 1, and paste. So it's pretty important that the names are the same. Let's just see whether we can expand that with the shift key. We'll expand this, expand this, expand this. So we'll just go through. I'll just unexpand this, just so as we've got it. So the next one after the hips is probably the spine. So it's this one. So that's going to be this joint, spine. And if I expand that and get rid of that, get rid of that, notice that I've got spine 2. So Control C. And spine 2. Now, I think this one is spine 3, which is not in the original, but that's fine. We can fix that later. Now, where do we want this guy to join? Now, we can either join it all the way back here or the beginning of here, because this is sort of... No, I'm going to do it here. So I'm going to call this one spine 4. And let's call this one... let's call it spine 5 for the moment. This one here is going to be the neck, and this one's going to be the head. Cool. So that is all of these. Yep, that's all of this structure done for us, which is really cool. This is the left arm. So we'll go looking for here. Left up leg. That's not right. I'm looking for the left shoulder. See this left shoulder? So left shoulder is the collarbone. Just hide that for a second. Hide that. So we can get to this guy. No, that's his tail. So this is the one that I want to be working on at the moment. So I'll just expand that. So this is called left shoulder. So let's go down. The left arm is next by the looks of it. So Control C. Control V. Notice that where it is, it's exactly where I want it to be. So my left arm, so left shoulder, left arm, left forearm, and the forearm is pretty much your elbow. So let's just go left shoulder, left arm, and elbow, left forearm. Then what we got next? Just shrink down the left hand. Ooh, where did I go? Left arm, left forearm, left hand. Copy. Control C. Left hand. Control V. Now, pretty much what we'll do here is we'll just use one of the fingers. So if we have a look at left hand, we've got left hand index. We'll use the middle finger. Left hand, middle. Notice it's called middle 1. Control C. Come down. And I just want to, we'll just use left hand middle 2, because that's the second one. That'll do. So we'll paste that. Cool. So that's our left shoulder done. So let's do this tail. Now, for the tail, we'll just call it this tail 1, and we'll copy. And I'll show you what happens if I just paste that. The 1, oh, I was hoping that the 1 will change to 2. And I want 3, tail 3. Let's expand that with the shift key. Come over here, tail 4. And we'll go to the next one, tail 5. And paste tail 6. Cool to go. So we'll get rid of that. And actually, to be honest, the tail, select this guy, then shift select this guy and go P. And that just parents the tail at this point. I'm not going to parent the other side just yet because I want to mirror them across. So now let's just move on to the left leg. So we've got to go find that. So there's our spine. And here's our left up leg. So I'll just grab that, Control C. And it'll be this joint. And we'll expand that so we've got all of those. So left leg, the next one is... So left up leg. The next one is left leg. And the next one is left foot. Notice that this is the foot or the ankle. And we'll move on to the next one. Left toe base. Copy. And this one's going to be left toe end. So I'll call this one end. Cool. Awesome. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to mirror this particular geometry, structure. So we'll grab the skeleton. We'll come over to skeleton up here, and we're looking for mirror joints. And let's have a look. And we're going to search for left, and we're going to change it to right. So as it does the mirror, it will search for the left name. See how we've got left? And I'm going to change it to right. So let's just go apply. Now you notice it's gone to the back. So Control Z. Oh, actually, we can just get rid of it. Going up, and we're going to press delete. Now the problem is that this dog is facing the wrong direction, but let's just continue. It's all good. We'll just make it to apply this. And you'll notice that this guy, if we come over into left, oh, I forgot to do my search for. Whoops. So grab this, search for left, and apply. So now this is my right shoulder, my right arm, so I don't have to rename everything, which is pretty cool. So let's do the next side, which is this, and I just apply. So now this is my right upper leg, and this is my left upper leg. And that's pretty good. It just saves a bit of time. So this has to have a parent of this guy. So grab this guy, shift grab this, and go P for parent. Grab this, shift grab this, and go P for parent. And we'll grab the collarbones, which are these guys, and I'm going to parent them to here. We'll grab the next one, which is this one, and we'll P to parent there. Now, you can do, if you had eyes, you can actually do that, but I'm not going to worry about it. So this is the skeleton structure completely ready to go for the rigging process, which is pretty cool. It's got its naming conventions and all of that. And in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to skin our character, then we'll do our painting our weights. In the video after that, we will transfer this dog into Motion Builder and get that rigged up and ready to go. So before we leave, I'll just go Save Scene As, and we'll just put it into my scene folder, and we'll go wolf _ skeleton. And I regularly save when I'm working on this process because things get broken. The other thing I need to do before I do the rigging, I will do orientating the joints, but I'll do that later. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.